As the geopolitical chessboard of West Africa undergoes its most violent shift in decades, a startling declaration from Paris has sent shockwaves from the banks of Seine to the red soils of the Sahel. For years, the relationship between France and its former colonies was wrapped in the velvet language of partnership and development. But the mask has finally slipped. Emmanuel Macron has broken his silence, and his message is a cold bucket of water for any leader still dreaming of a paternalistic savior. As Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger continue to assert their independence, Paris is no longer pretending to play the role of the big brother. The Francophone Charter is effectively on fire, replaced by a blunt admission that France is in Africa for one reason and one reason only. It is its own interest. Good day. You're watching the Global Observer, and I want you to stay right there. Our late story today examines Macron's unprecedented honesty, the high-stakes Africa Forward summit in Nairobi, and the dark shadow of instability currently creeping towards Chad. To understand why the speech has caused such a firestorm, we have to look at the raw honesty Macron used. He essentially told African leaders that if they cannot think for their own people, he won't do it for them. This is a massive wake-up call analogy. Imagine a neighbor who has been living in your spare room for decades, claiming he's there to help you fix the roof, only to finally admit he's just there because you have the best view and he likes your electricity. Macron made it clear France isn't coming to build roads, fix power grids, or create jobs out of the goodness of its heart. They are coming to defend French interests. While some call this an insult, it is actually a moment of liberation. He is stripping away the lie of the civilizing mission and laying bare the reality of global power. If France is putting its interest first, it is a direct challenge to leaders in Ghana, Nigeria, and Uganda to finally put African interests on the table with the same ruthlessness. But while the words are becoming clearer, the ground is becoming more dangerous. On May 4, 2026, a brutal attack struck a military post in the Lake Chad region. 23 soldiers lost their lives in a coordinated strike that felt like a surgical operation. This happened just as Chad began to follow the path of Mali and Niger by sharing or showing French forces the exit door. There is a pattern, big pattern here that is hard to ignore. It is like a security system that suddenly starts glitching the moment you stop paying the original installer. Many observers believe this instability is being sponsored to prove a point that without French boots on the ground, these nations will crumble into chaos. The handwriting, dear viewers, of external influence is appearing all over these tragedies, yet the African Union's only response in the usual condemnation. This brings us to the upcoming Africa Forward Summit 2026 in Nairobi, Kenya. Macron and William Ruto are co-hosting this event, inviting over 30 head of states and youth representatives. But we have to ask, which youth are they representing? This summit is being sold as a platform to reshape relationships, but the timing is suspicious as the Sahel leaders call out France for its role in regional insecurity. Paris is trying to pivot towards East Africa, using Kenya as a stable hub to maintain its influence. The agenda includes security and geopolitics, which is a polite way to say they want to regain control of the narrative. If African leaders go to Nairobi and fail to call Macron out on the evidence of misinformation and sponsorship of unrest, then They are failing the very people they represent. The war is no longer just being fought with guns, it is being fought with stories and sentiments. A new and dangerous tactic has emerged: the weaponization of religion and tribe. Ibrahim Traore recently made a comment about the need to regulate radical teachings to promote peace. He noted that you cannot dismantle a terrorist hub without finding a twisted version of religious texts being used to brainwash the youth. He wants to ensure that Islam is a religion of peace and that it is not used as a tool for violence. However, internal media outlets like Le Monde and groups like Human Rights Watch are spinning this narrative. They are trying to frame it as an attack on the Muslim community. It is a classic divide and conquer strategy. They want to turn brother against brother by playing on the most sensitive emotion of the human heart. In Mali, the narrative is being pushed even further into tribalism, dear friends. Reports are circulating that aim to incite the Fulani and Tuareg communities against the central government. They are using leaked footages, some of it twisted or taken out of context, to claim that the state is targeting specific ethnic groups. Tribal sentiment is like dry grass in a drought. One spark of misinformation can burn down an entire nation. By making the conflict about tribe or religion, the external powers hide the real issue: the struggle for sovereignty and resources. They want the people to fight each other over how they pray or what their last name is, so they don't look up and see who is actually carrying away the gold and the uranium. We are also seeing a massive crackdown on misinformation. When Burkina Faso banned TV 5 months, it wasn't an attack on free press. It was a defense against war propaganda. These media houses have been caught glorifying the very groups that are burning villages. Macron says he respects African leaders, but his state-funded media acts like a digital army trying to destabilize the region. If you are meeting a man for a business deal, but his employees are outside throwing rocks at your children, is that a balanced partnership? I ask you. This is the question that most people ask, and it is a question that must be asked as well in Nairobi. African leaders need to investigate why the French media is so consistent against the development and sovereignty of the Sahel. The truth is that the old guard of diplomacy is dying. The youth of Africa are no longer interested in summits that results in nothing but photos and loans. They are looking at the 15,000-man unified force of the AES and seeing a new model of self-reliance. Macron's honesty might be his way of trying to sound modern and relatable, but it also confirms what the protesters in the streets have been saying for years. France is not a partner, it is a competitor. In any competition, if you aren't playing for your own team, you're already lost. The era of the Francophone Charter is being replaced by a sovereignty charter, written in the blood and sweat of the Sahelian people. As we look toward the May 11th summit, the pressure is on the African heads of state. Will they accept the balanced partnership on Macron's terms, or will they demand an audit of the security situation? The world is watching to see if they will address the sponsorship of the T groups and the digital misinformation campaigns. The Sahel is the front line of a global shift. What happens in Kidal or the Chad isn't just a local skirmish. It is a test of whether Africa can truly think for itself. Macron is right about one thing: no one is coming to save Africa. The savior must be found in the mirror. This journey toward total independence is long and full of traps. From the betrayal in Kati to the blood gold pipelines, the obstacles are many, but the roar of the lion is getting louder The people are starting to see past the tribal and the religious divide and conquer traits. They are realizing that the wealth of the land belongs to the children of the land. As the global observer, we will continue to follow every move on this board. Whether it's a summit in Nairobi or skirmish in the desert, the truth cannot be hidden forever. Make sure you stay tuned for our next update as we break down the outcomes of the Macron-Ruto meeting. Thank you for watching the Global Observer. I want you to click on the subscribe button so you get more notifications. Thank you.